News Now at 11.
Thanks for joining us. An estimated 20,000 street gang members and their associates now prowl neighborhoods all over southern Nevada, the most ever.
Metro Police say the number of known gangsters here has increased 10% in each of the past 2 years. And there are now almost 600 individual gangs. But numbers aren't the only challenge for police. The gangs are growing more sophisticated. In order to adapt, Metro created what they call the GAP team and allowed the I-Team to ride along with these tough-as-nails officers. The I-Team's George Knapp has the exclusive story.
Hey, wait right there. Wait right there. Wait in the car.
Working the gang-infested corridor near Trop and Boulder Highway, Sergeant Will Hudler is cautious every time he and his team pull someone over.
He's also got a second one out of Nevada Highway Patrol for another misdemeanor citation. That bail amounts to 514.
His instincts were right. The driver had an outstanding warrant, but the GAP team had more pressing priorities on this night. For instance, stopping to chat with someone who matched the description of a gangster who's pulled 3 armed stick-ups in the area.
We don't think it's going to be our guy.
Hudler makes a point of engaging the residents of the weekly rental places known as havens for gangbangers to let regular citizens know the police are around.
How you doing?
Everything okay?
Oh, just saying hello. How are you? Our entire shift, we're doing that proactive stop. So we're creeping through neighborhoods, and so if we turn a corner in a unmarked car, the element of surprise is there for us, and we may catch him in the act. And so the likelihood of us contacting someone who has a reason to run is higher.
Because of who they target, the gang unit is more likely than most cops to get into some rough stuff.
You know, my background is training and defensive tactics and that, so it's more practical because we're going to have higher likelihood of high-risk contacts, foot pursuits, fights, things like that.
And characters like these two, you don't need Sherlock Holmes to size them up. The telltale tattoos, the blue bandana in the back pocket. The duo caught an earful from one GAP officer.
I've asked you once to fix your feet. Then you immediately went back and did it again.
What the wise guy had done was a gesture with his feet called teeing off, the equivalent of flipping the bird at the police.
They'll tee their feet off towards the officer.
They'll do what?
There's also advising
Like
that
this.
female has previous
Like that.
413 charges known to drink.
And whatever it means, it is almost like looking at you and spitting. It's a very subtle way to show people that are walking by that you're disrespecting law enforcement. He noticed it. He told them asked him not to do it, asked him to square his legs up. And he shifted over to the right, did it again.
It ends amicably. Even with known gang members, it makes sense for police to keep the channels open. One never knows where valuable tips might originate.
Got some info. Someone might be illegally holding a firearm.
As we cruise along with Sergeant Hudler, a mystery tipster, possibly a rival gang member, calls to report a 300-pound Pacific Islander in a wheelchair, a longtime gangster from California in the area, a felon carrying a gun. Hudler advises not to be misled by the wheelchair.
He has a very serious criminal history as well.
So he'd done time for attempted murder.
Absolutely.
And then he is in a wheelchair because somebody shot him.
Because somebody shot him.
Within minutes, they've got him. Officers get his permission to search his chair for weapons.
Get him up, get him up, get him up.
It takes several men to lift him onto another perch.
Got it?
Instead of a gun, they found a bullet, which is illegal for him in light of his prison record.
Who lost the police with your husband?
A subsequent search of his rental unit uncovers 2 firearms.
It's a rather frequent occurrence. And when we confiscate guns, of course, we're taking them out of the hands of the criminal element.
Lieutenant Petco's team is one part of Metro's anti-gang efforts.
Metro Police, get in here and sound off!
Intel detectives get involved in enforcement as well, such as chasing a suspect through a gang stronghold near Sunrise Mountain. But their primary job is to investigate the big picture stuff, identifying the shot callers in local gangs. Inside the jail, another team identifies and studies gang members, their affiliations, and tattoos. About half of the inmates in our jail are affiliated with a gang. But the days of Crips versus Bloods vendettas and street corner turf wars are mostly over. Hudler says the new hybrid gangs might be Crips and Bloods, with members black, white, Hispanic, less obvious to police and less hostile to each other, with illicit profits as their goal and social media as their most valuable tools. Metro Police have had to likewise adapt.
They have now come to the conclusion that it's probably better to pursue their business interests rather than shooting at each other, and nobody makes money.
It's dangerous.
We're obviously under funding constraints. We're having to evolve at a very rapid pace in order to counter the criminal element.
George Knapp, 8 News Now.